half in the bag. Fuck movies.
Well, that's it. We put the VCR back together.
All right.
Well, Jay, years of anticipation have finally led to this moment.
That's right, Mike. I can't wait to finally watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens so I can say it was pretty good and then forget about it in a day.
Me too, Jay. Me too.
Hello, Harry.
Oh, hello, ma'am. Harry's not home right now. We don't know where he went, actually. Are you his new best friend, Kris?
Why, yes, I am. Christopher Kringle. I live on the other side of the mountain.
Well, we were just sitting down to watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the new J.J. Abrams film. Do you want to join us?
I've already seen it. It sucked. But I'd be delighted to watch it again.
Okay. Mike, I think that's Santa Claus.
Is that Santa Claus?
I think it really is. It really is.
Waited my whole life to meet Santa Claus. Oh. He seems like a little bit of a pretentious asshole. Well, you ready, sir, to watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens? Here we go.
Is this in Pan and Scan?
Why, it's in Letterbox.
No.
Is that where they put the black bars on the top and the bottom?
I don't like that. Why do they cut off half the picture?
They can save 25% on film stock that way.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Heroes on both sides. Oh no, this is the wrong Star Wars movie.
Right. Wow.
Yes, well, that was a Star Wars movie.
That was a Star Wars movie. We just saw Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
God, we've been watching it for so long, it feels like it's literally 4 o'clock in the morning. I bet you there are some people out there who could only purchase tickets with decent seating at 1:15 in the morning, thus getting out around 3:45 and perhaps filming a discussion about their Star Wars viewing experience literally at 4 o'clock in the morning. And to those brave souls, I say cheers.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens is the new Star Wars. You know what this is, and we saw it. Mike, what did you think of Star Wars: The Force Awakens?
Well, I loved it. It was everything I hoped it would be.
Well, I will say this, because you also loved Jurassic World, and this movie functions basically the same as Jurassic World, where it's a semi-remake.
Soft reboot?
A soft reboot / remake that's meant to start up a new franchise or start up a new series of films. I did not like the Jurassic World. I thought it was too similar and just felt like hollow and phony with bullshit, annoying, boring characters. I also really, really liked The Force Awakens. It worked in all the ways that Jurassic World did not.
Okay.
It was everything I was expecting it to be, which was, it was okay. I'm not in love with it. I didn't hate it. It's a competent movie, and really, after the prequels, as far as the Star Wars fans are concerned, that's all it had to be. It had to be competent.
Well, that's,
and it's a very competent movie.
Yeah, it had a very specific set of goals it needed to obtain, and I think it did that. I actually liked it more than because that's kind of what I was expecting it to be too. And I liked it a lot more. It didn't feel like, my biggest concern is that it would feel like a, just sort of like a calculated, like very cold, like we're gonna do everything we can to recreate the feeling that you had when you saw the original Star Wars. It just felt like a solid Star Wars sequel. A better Star Wars sequel than Return of the Jedi, I would say. At least our returning characters have roles that impact the story. Han Solo's back, and he has things to do.
It felt like a Star Wars movie, though, that took place in a retirement home.
Why? We have such new, energetic characters as Poe Dameron.
I know, but whatever. Well, go, sorry, finish.
And Rey. I was listing all the fucking new energetic characters.
Yeah, you had the new, but it's just the old feels so old right now.
I like that. I like the because there's so much of like the it's true, all of it, and they're talking about these old adventures from the past, and Harrison Ford looks like he gives a shit. Harrison Ford was a lot of fun in this movie for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah, that's what I kind of forgot that movies had was a little bit of a sense of humor.
Yeah,
And they're like when the early adventures in the film, Poe and Finn running around the Star Destroyer. And
new characters too, not just like, oh, these are the characters I like doing something, I'm enjoying. It's new characters that you like doing something.
New characters that are likable right off the bat.
Yes.
I wish Poe Dameron was around for more of the movie.
Just wait, I'm sure he'll get his own spin-off film.
That's fine.
And he'll be in the sequel.
He was plucky, and kind of funny. And even when he's captured, like, there's the part Kylo Ren's like, he's captured him, and he's like, who starts first, you or me? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like. I like that.
Scrappy characters.
Yes.
There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
We're talking about the young and the new and the old. Does that both?
Yes.
And what this has over the prequels is...
Let's just get to it. You just want to talk about how Carrie Fisher's face doesn't move.
That's true, but I was going to talk about...
Crippled by plastic surgery.
She hasn't had plastic surgery. She's just done lots and lots of drugs.
C-3PO has more expression in his face. His mouth moves more.
Hey, I would say, we'll let you get back to whatever you were trying to say.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
got to make fun of Carrie Fisher for a bit. I love Carrie Fisher. I'm glad that
She's a classy, crazy
she's been my
dame.
favorite part of the Star Wars media blitz, is just seeing her back in the public eye. She's great. Shows that she's still a solid actress because she comes across like a normal human being in this movie, which she doesn't in real life, but that's why I love her. So she's just fine in this movie, that Carrie Fisher.
I have to pee really bad. That's why this is happening.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Do you remember ever being a general when we were together?
You were a general.
I was.
It's like when I saw the prequels, everyone, after Phantom Menace sucked, was like, well, Attack of the Clones, it'll be better at the second one. And I was the only one thinking, but these characters are all shit. There's nothing they can do with this. Here we have good characters that you can do fun things with. And I'm excited to see these characters again.
And this, as we were saying, this is a soft reboot. I think everybody at this point is saying it's a New Hope. It's just like a New Hope, and it is in a lot of ways, but it's also...
There are lots of similarities.
There are lots of similarities, which we'll probably get into more when we talk about spoilers, but like Star Wars, like people have kind of deified Star Wars and made it into this as if it's some like big complex story, which it never really has been. It's fun space adventures with likable characters, and that's what this movie gets right more than anything else. The overall story is more of a backdrop for the character drama and the character relationships and this character story stuff. And that's what works really well in this. What this movie needed to do was reestablish Star Wars as the Star Wars you like. And it does that. I'm just hoping with the next one they don't Star Trek Into Darkness it, where they just double down on the references and the callbacks. Because I would say one complaint about this movie is there's a couple too many little wink callbacks.
But there's a little too much poetry.
There's a little too much poetry, a little too much it rhymes. And I'm not even talking about the overall story, just the little like, we're on the Millennium Falcon and we see the chessboard come up. And like, we don't need
They call
those
that
things.
fan service.
It's fan service. And the movie doesn't get bogged down in it.
No.
I'm just hoping that the sequel is not, playing
I don't think
more
they
of that
will.
up. Now that we have this movie out of the way, establishing these new characters, let them go off on their own adventures.
The Mos Eisley shot.
Yeah, there's the Mos Eisley thing, and I'm okay with that just because I like fun creature designs.
So they went.
I'm just talking about like the overlook when Obi-Wan and Luke, they're standing the binoculars and they're seeing the city in the distance. They had kind of the same shot on Jakku.
Jakku, yeah. It's
Tatooine,
not
part
Tatooine,
2.
it's Jakku,
That's
but
not
it's just the same
Tatooine.
thing.
So there's a scene where a character went into a wacky cantina to find a pilot to take him to the to get the stolen plans inside of a droid to the rebels.
It was a stolen map.
It was a stolen map. Yes,
It was the map to the pirate's gold.
right.
Oh, the spoilers! I accidentally let it slip that Kylo Ren wants the pirate's gold.
Have you felt it?
So we gave you first impressions, and we're going to say spoilers from here on out. Major warning, spoilers. Here we go. Rich. What's wrong with Carrie Fisher's face?
It's too old. Her face is too old. She's not too fat, though.
You're an ageist, Rich.
She lost the right amount of weight.
You know what?
Rich is okay with Carrie Fisher's weight.
But she's too old.
That's what, remember when we first saw Carrie Fisher, Han Solo said to Finn and Rey, he's like, just don't stare. Don't stare. And then she comes out, she's got these glasses on, and I'm like, oh, Carrie Fisher's back.
Oh, Mike, that wasn't Carrie Fisher. That was a CGI motion capture character.
What?
Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford. I loved their relationship in this movie. I love that it didn't work out. It makes perfect sense that it wouldn't work out between the two of them. It doesn't feel like, because that's the biggest problem with Jedi, is like now they're just there. They're together.
Yeah.
There's one line where Han Solo is concerned she likes Luke, and it's just like tossed in at the last minute for no reason. So I love the way they handled those two. Their dialogue back and forth is great without feeling forced. Or like, remember their relationship in the past? Like there's more, through the decades since then, there's a little more drama, a little more weight to it, and I like that.
There is a throwaway line of dialogue to explain it, but for me, it's a little bit weird that like, here we are like 40 years later and these characters are still doing the same shit they were doing 40 years ago. Leia's still the one in charge of the rebellion organizing things, and Han Solo's still the brash smuggler flying around the galaxy.
He goes back to being
throwaway line to excuse it. I know.
It didn't feel like a throwaway line. It felt like more of a way of informing the character. It seemed completely appropriate for Han Solo.
He said he went back to doing what he was good at, and he upped his game.
It was a fun plot with Han Solo's little monster smuggling.
Yeah, I thought that was
Han Solo has a giant monster smuggling ship.
Giant squid monsters on
Cthulhu monsters.
He's smuggling characters from the Goosebumps movie in little cells, and then a bunch of like people come looking for his money. And he looks like a crazy old kook at that point.
Oh yeah,
and that's kind of funny.
I wonder why nobody told Harrison Ford to get a haircut before this movie. It's just like shaggy and looks terrible. He looks like he just walked out of the senior citizens home.
I think that's the point, though.
I guess it's a little distracting in the movie because he just looks so unkempt in like a way not like movie unkempt, you know.
I wish Chewbacca looked a little rougher. Like I was watching Empire, and his fur in Empire is all like ratty and nasty looking.
I noticed that right off the bat in this one. He looks a little too clean.
He looks like the Chewbacca from that like Citibank commercial when he's running around. And it looks like a Chewbacca that's like, it's Chewbacca, you know. Yeah. Here he is, like where it's like not really Chewbacca. I want him to be a little more matty, a little more gruff.
He's like the replacement Chewbacca. You get Han Solo after Chewbacca dies. Just buy a new one.
You're saying as if Chewbacca was real?
Yeah. It was a very good death scene.
Oh, we're talking about the death of Han Solo.
Sure, why not? We're already in spoilers. If you're watching this, and guess what? Han Solo dies.
The least shocking plot twist of all time, Kylo Ren is the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia. General Leia.
Do you remember ever being a general when we were together?
One thing I wanted to point out is that I like that this movie didn't try to do any sort of like Luke, I'm your father shocking reveals. Mm-hmm. The information is doled out throughout the movie in a more casual way than that, which I appreciated because like so much of this movie you could have predicted going into it. A lot of people have, or it'll just be spoiled. So I appreciated that it's like you just learn these things throughout the movie, and it's not like like I'm surprised to learn that Kylo Ren is Han Solo's kid.
Yeah, it wasn't like they revealed it on the bridge at the end or something. But yeah, right off the bat, you see Kylo Ren, and he just kind of walks off the ship, and he's like blah 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 blah, and it's like okay, this feels like Star Wars. And then he walks in, and we see Grand Imperial Emperor Lord Snoke. Who's a CGI thing.
First you think he's a giant monster.
I love that too, that you think it's a giant, and then you just realize it's a hologram. Yeah. Like I thought that was great.
I think in real life Snoke is going to be 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he does that to intimidate.
I liked Kylo Ren a lot. He has more character to him than Darth Vader does in A New Hope. Darth Vader, of course, has more going on in Empire.
Well, Darth Vader's character wasn't really established until Empire.
Exactly. So I like that the villain established in the first movie of this new series has a little more going on than
Yes. Rich and I were discussing this. Kylo Ren is, of course, the son of Leia and Han, and he is a brat.
He's a bratty, rebellious kid that works in a way that the bratty, rebellious kid in the Star Wars prequels does not.
Yes, and he's conflicted. He feels a little bit of the light
feels
side
the tug of the light.
Yes,
yeah.
and he's like, help me, Darth Vader mask. He's like, help me see the way of becoming a complete asshole. And
They're sowing the seeds of where they take that character next, and that's a fine thing to do.
It's great. It's great, and I like that he wears that. He wears that mask, and it almost has like the Bane voice as an intimidation thing. And because he probably learned that from the 4-foot-tall CGI creature who intimidates everyone by being a 20-foot-tall.
Yeah.
And then he takes that mask off, and he sounds like a little wimp, and he looks like a dope.
Yeah.
And he wears that mask to intimidate others, and really it's like he's really like kind of cowardly almost. And unsure of himself, but he wants to be a badass.
You can
He's
tell
not.
he's going to be a real prick in the next movie too, because he got embarrassed big time. like 3 times.
Yes.
He got bested by a girl.
By a girl.
Well, do you need any kind of training to use the Force? Any?
He has training.
She doesn't.
Well, we don't know her entire backstory.
Neither did Luke in Empire. Well, minor training. He had like a week of training with Yoda. Yeah. That's all you need. You need a week.
And then he went back for his training in Jedi, and Yoda just died immediately.
Yes. Can I point out that this is we are now back to real Star Wars.
Yeah.
There was never any bullshit about the only thing that Yoda says, he's too old to begin the training. That's all. But really, it's more like, okay, I've taught you a couple things, how to levitate stuff, how to do this. Your real training is confronting Darth Vader, blah, 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 blah. And this, it's kind of the same thing, where it's not the stupid prequel idea of we have to get you when you're 1, and you have to stand there with a thing over your head holding a lightsaber.
In a room full of other children.
In the room full of other children.
That are as close as we are now with lightsabers.
Yes, it's not a literal training. It's not an academy of little kids in a classroom like the stupidity of George Lucas's ideas in the prequels.
And that is George Lucas. George, wherever you are. Thank you, George.
And not one hint of midi-chlorians.
Well, we knew that was a good.
That's out the window.
Yeah.
We're back to basics.
We're back to magic, baby.
We're back to magic.
Magic and coincidences. Oh, look, that's just the Millennium Falcon. It's just sitting there. Oh, we got to run into Han Solo. Hey, what a coincidence.
Yeah, why is it in the Star Wars universe everyone has to have some sort of relation? They have to be some sort of family member of another character, like
Magic,
It's about family.
spirituality.
Like poetry rhymes.
No, it's about family. It's
See,
about the
you know what it is?
intertwined characters.
Yes. Well, what it is everyone loved Luke, I'm your father. So then everyone, and then Luke and Leia are brother and sister, and it just went from there.
I said, you want to pass that torch, you got to have Luke, Leia, Han, and you got to have it go to the next generation. It's a generational thing.
I understand that. I'm fine with it. It's just funny to me.
It's amusing to point out how coincidental everything is, but that's the scene. My favorite scene in the whole movie, it was when Kylo Ren is interrogating Rey. And he's like using the Force on her, and then she's pushing back, and you can tell it goes on forever. But it was great internalization. Wait, what? And she's like, you're afraid. You're worried that you're not going to be as awesome as Darth Vader. And he's like, what? and then it's like that realization, and she realizes it too, that she has the Force and she's aware of it and everything. And then there's a humorous Jedi mind trick scene with the Stormtrooper, and you get back to some humor, and there's a lot of cleverness in this film.
What if someone else beside you came to you and said, I want to make episode 7? Could you see that happening?
No.
The dark side. A Jedi.
I really like some things. I really like just random bits and pieces. Just one kind of guy came in and told Kylo Ren, well, we didn't get the droid. And then he just, without saying a word, he just whips out his lightsaber and he just starts fucking up the room.
He throws temper tantrums.
He throws a little temper tantrum.
Which shows he's not in control of his emotions. And that happens again, and the stormtroopers are coming around the hallway.
They're like,
bye. I kept waiting for Harrison Ford to make some comment about running around on another Death Star.
Well,
here I am on another Death Star.
There's one mention where he's like, they're showing the new Death. What's it called?
The Star Killer.
Star Killer base.
And they're like, here's the Death Star. Here's the Star Killer on this graph. And Harrison Ford's just like, how do we blow it up? Like they know what they're doing.
We said we can always blow it up.
Yeah, there's
always a way to blow it up.
Wink, wink there.
And that was the one story element, the whole Star Killer thing, that to me was like a little too close to like, we're watching them blow up another Death Star again. But unlike A New Hope, where that's the entire end of the movie is them trying to blow up the Death Star, in this it's more of a backdrop for the real drama, the real character story stuff. So
Jedi.
Oh, I guess Jedi too, but this, I don't know. I didn't. It's such a small element to this, the actual blowing up of the Star Killer,
the Solaranite bomb.
Whatever. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Reference an Ed Wood film.
What?
The Solaranite.
Solaranite? Is that
That's Plan 9 from Outer Space.
The bomb that makes all light explode.
Yes, Rich. Thank you. You've seen Plan 9 58 times, Jay. You don't remember this?
Every time I see it, I'm just yelling at the screen, though. We don't pay attention to the story in Plan 9 from Outer Space.
That's fair.
Here's the thing, though. They blew it up, though, at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you do in the sequels now? You got the same problem that Jedi had.
Well, I really thought the new Death Star, the Star Killer base, was going to carry over.
I was hoping it would, just to subvert them just blowing up another Death Star.
They really should have just disabled it by blowing that thing up. Whatever.
You need to end the movie on that high note, though, I guess. What do you need the climax?
But that wasn't even the climax. The
no.
climax is the confrontation between Kylo Ren and all that stuff, and Rey.
It should have stuck around.
The playing field has been leveled now. No, it has, because the first thing the Solaranite bomb did was blow up Coruscant, which I thought was awesome.
We think it's Coruscant. Did they
Domhnall Gleeson was screaming about the Senate. He's like, well, fuck the Senate and fuck the Republic. And we're like, is the Republic still around? What's going on? And then the Solaranite bomb shoots the energy. And
shoots like 5 planets at once.
It hits all the little planets. And then I swear I saw that the main shot of Coruscant, and they show a bunch of people. They're like, "What?" And there's a boom, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, most of the issues I have with this movie are nitpicks. The only big one is the Death Star again, and that's the battle of trying to blow up the Death Star again. That's the only thing that really fell flat for me.
They even fly down a trench.
Yeah. It's almost like a direct remake of that whole sequence.
So, are we calling this a soft reboot?
Yeah, it is. It works because you like the characters, and that's the stuff that feels new and fresh. Daisy Ridley was great. I think she kind of made the movie. John Boyega's very good. Mm-hmm. I wish there was a little more Poe Dameron, but I like that they didn't, give you too much of all these characters. So.
Well, let's talk about our favorite character.
Oh my God! It's Captain Phantasm.
Captain
Captain Advertisement.
Captain Toy.
Captain Toy. Captain doesn't do much in the film.
So if you're watching this and you've seen the film, you know that I want to say Phasma, but it's Phasma.
It's Phasma, which oddly enough not oddly enough, it's just weird to me that J.J. Abrams would make a reference to the film Phantasm in his Star Wars movie, but that's what it is a direct reference to.
Well, Captain Phasma is like a joke.
Captain Phasma is getting more screen time right now than she has in the actual movie.
Yeah, I guess she's like in charge of all the stormtroopers, and it's more of a plot device.
It's publicity's fault if you're upset about that. I mean, they needed a stormtrooper in command to stand out, so at the end when they need to get the shield down, the audience know who that is, and she would know how to do that.
Plus, she reprimands Boyega's character and says, don't take your helmet off, no, Yeah. And then he's like that. It's basically like his boss. And then at the end, we
get just a little moment with them early on to establish that they got beef with each other.
But really, We thought this was going to be some kind of awesome character. I guess not. Oh no, there goes Captain Phasma. Oh no, oh no.
Another thing I thought was great with Finn, and it works with him learning to stand up to the horrible Empire, was just the normal person in a lightsaber fight with a Jedi.
Yeah.
That was really kind of cool. And he did get his ass kicked, as he should have, but just that it happened was neat.
Yeah. It wasn't that great because no one was like flipping around and doing all these overly choreographed moves. Like, I really missed that.
Well, you know,
I was thinking of the ending of Revenge of the Sith, where they're flying and spinning and hanging on ropes, and there's
remember
like
they're surfing in the lava while jumping?
And it's like all that fight needed to be was them on a little mountainside and some lava going down.
Yeah.
And then
because it's about the characters.
It's about the characters, and this was just them fighting in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And
just awkwardly beating each other.
Using the lightsabers, not in a ninja way, but just hitting each other and trying not to get hit themselves.
Yes.
It was beautiful. And it was really nice to see real stormtroopers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they all look fat.
Yeah, well, it's the costume.
Yeah.
The costumes are really make them look short and stocky.
Yeah, right. Now, we were saying we had a terrifying thought during the Rey and Kylo Ren fight, and they're fighting. You know, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber's in the snow. Kylo Ren's trying to grab it, and we see it. I knew it was going to fly to Rey. I knew she was going to grab it.
I thought it was going to fly into Luke's hand. That was going to be the big Luke reveal.
I was expecting him.
Yeah.
I was expecting like his green lightsaber to appear in the frame somewhere, and everyone looks, and there he is, and he's like, and I was like, oh God, don't show up, Luke.
Yeah.
Don't show up. You're going to ruin it. And then we see Mark Hamill in the end.
It's the best acting job Mark Hamill has ever done.
Now, Jay, I understand you had a problem with the last shot.
Just a minor
moving camera
nitpick.
shot
Yeah,
for
like I like the idea behind it. I like the emotion of it, but you know, she holds out his lightsaber and he stands there, and we cut the credits. It would have been great if it was a static shot or just a close-up of Luke or something, but it's like this awkward helicopter shot that's like spinning around them.
You see the shadow of the helicopter too on the ground.
No, you.
Yeah, you do. I saw it.
I don't believe you. We don't have.
Yeah, no, some kind of like low angle where they're like silhouetted or
yeah, or like a dolly out or dolly in.
Also, I didn't like the fact that she went there in like broad daylight. I'm assuming like that's that island off of Ireland, and it's like really dangerous and weird, and nobody could go on the island, and maybe they couldn't film at night because there was like someone would fall off the cliffs.
You think it just would have been more exciting if it was like dark and mysterious?
Yeah, it was like broad daylight, and it kind of looked like a tourism video. And it's like, visit Ireland. And then, you know, some more dramatic lighting, like when we see Luke, and so he's just kind of standing there. I think he was urinating. and he was like, oh, I better just stand here for a few more minutes so it looks mysterious. And he puts this little lightsaber away, and then, excuse me, oh, it's me. I wasn't pissing. I don't know, like we were talking about the Starkiller base being gone, and they blew up Coruscant, maybe. And then so we have a little smattering of rebels on whatever planet they're on, and then we have a couple of Star Destroyers, and then
they just shoot at each other.
And what's the
thrust? What's the threat?
Yeah, I mean,
because in Empire, the Empire was still in charge of everything.
Yes.
Now it's not clear because they talk about the Republic being a government, but they also talk about a resistance to the New Order.
Right.
And it's not clear who's in charge of what and who's attacking who.
Yes. The resistance shouldn't. I think you mentioned this in our predictions video. Was that the resistance is not the resistance until they are overwhelmed. They're pretty much the resistance should be the Empire.
My prediction started to come true with the new Death Star destroying the old, blowing up Coruscant.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it seemed like Leia and the rebels or resistance were.
Why are they the resistance?
They should be the army, or the status quo at that point.
I don't understand the layout of this universe. I don't understand.
Yes. It was very clear before. I don't know. What do you do?
Well, Rey has to redeem Kylo Ren to fight Emperor Snook.
You think so?
Yeah, that's how it's gonna go.
That's my worry, is that they'll just continue. Like, this movie, you know, apes a lot from A New Hope. Aside from the Death Star stuff, I was fine with it.
Soft reboot.
Soft reboot. I was fine with that, but now, just like with Star Trek 09, I was like, okay, now that shit's out of the way, let's tell your own story, which they didn't do with Star Trek. I'm hoping they're a little smarter with how they handle this, but who knows?
It's funny because this movie kind of nullifies the entire Star Wars expanded universe. Like hundreds of novels have all been thrown in the dump.
Who gives a shit?
I don't really give a shit. I didn't read the novels, but I'm passing familiarity with them. I know in the books, Han and Leia's son turns evil, and then his twin sister ends up redeeming him, I think.
Oh.
I think it's just gonna be the same fucking thing. And I don't know. I still think Rey's gonna end up being Luke's daughter.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I like, that was everyone's assumption leading up to this movie, but I'm hoping they do something more interesting than that. Obviously, she's gonna have some sort of connection to.
Well, she's got some backstory they hint at.
Yeah.
Which was kind of neat. They don't tell you.
Yeah, they said her family dropped her off and,
Yeah.
and left her there as a little child.
You actually see a flashback of her as a little girl.
Well, it's kind of similar to the backstory, non-prequel backstory of Obi-Wan attempting to train Anakin and it getting fucked up and him turning to Darth Vader, which is Luke attempting to train Kylo Ren, that getting fucked up and him turning into
Darth Vader. He's basically Darth Vader.
I like that Kylo Ren's lightsaber was wonky.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Probably. Yeah.
He's wonky. It's appropriate.
It was all like kind of not functioning right. Like the blade was weird, you know, like he didn't quite know how to make one.
It wasn't a solid.
It wasn't solid
Yeah.
and perfect. It was like kind of just sketchy. And I thought that was a neat touch. At first I didn't like that because I thought that was going to be like the new look of the lightsabers, like all crazy
it's
looking.
just his.
Just his was all fucked up.
The important thing is that he didn't have a fancy lightsaber in place of a personality.
Yes, he's the anti-Darth Maul. He is the actual villain with depth. I think even Kylo Ren was my favorite part of the movie.
He's great. One other thing, and the movie moves pretty fast, so it's possible I just missed it. The MacGuffin of the movie is the map, the Luke Skywalker
the map. It's the BB-8 map.
Yeah. Did they explain like where this came from, or like why is there a map?
Max von Sydow had it.
Like, who made this map?
Max von Sydow had it.
That was my other thing. I was like, why is there a map to Luke Skywalker? Like,
2D2 had most of it.
Yeah.
BB-8 had the other part.
Yeah, the other part. But like, who made this map? Why is there a map that
So
tells
that
you
Rey
where?
could find Luke Skywalker.
Exactly, but like, who made the map? Like, if Luke's in hiding, where did this map come from?
Well, I think they mentioned that Carrie Fisher was looking for Luke.
Okay.
Oh, in the opening title crawl it says it.
Does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it says she wants to find Luke and bring him back so that he could help them.
Okay.
And so I'm assuming that the map is all of the data.
So the map was like a calculated deduction of where he probably is.
Like,
okay.
because they got the Death Star, the Star Killer plans from somebody who went there and did, I think.
They didn't. It was just Finn who worked there.
No, they mentioned like the recon team found this out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my guess is that Princess Leia was sending out people on secret missions, kind of like the one Poe Dameron was on in the beginning, to help track down Luke. And they're like, oh, he was here last. No, he was here last. No, he was here last. And so it's like, okay, this is the final spot.
But speaking of the opening crawl, could we just mention how wonderfully simple and corny that opening crawl was?
Yes, it was perfect.
Luke Skywalker has vanished. Like, it was perfect.
Something just visually, though, something about it just seemed off to me. For some reason, I kept expecting that to be like a parody ad before the real movie started. I don't know what it was.
I think it's just because you're so used to it. It is corny.
It was weird not hearing the 20th Century Fox fan.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
That was probably it.
We just opened on silent Lucasfilm logo.
By the way, there is a Darth Bane in the Star Wars universe.
Darth Bane?
Which is kind of...
Is that what we're calling Kylo Ren?
Funny. I'm Darth Bane.
It was fine. It was fine.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
I think the problem with Star Wars, though, is that one really good sequel happens to be one of the better movies ever made, and it's really fucking hard to live up to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And this movie does a good job of establishing itself as a solid sequel, which is my biggest takeaway from it is that it feels like a sequel. It doesn't feel like too much fan service or too much like like us. We have all these things that you enjoy from Star Wars. We're making it look and feel just like Star Wars. It feels just like a Star Wars sequel.
They did a very good job recapturing the magic and the energy of the original. It almost feels like a blend of Empire and A New Hope.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not totally A New Hope, it's not totally Empire, but it has those emotional highs and lows of Empire and the novelty and the magic of the first one.
Yes.
All kind of blended together. J.J. Abrams, Lawrence Kasdan, they all did a great job doing what they were supposed to do.
It ends on kind of like the low note of Empire, too, where they kind of like at the end of Empire, everyone's kind of separated. Han Solo's in carbonite. And
Yes.
Now Finn's in maybe a coma, and then Rey flies off to meet her Jedi destiny.
It does not end in a awards ceremony.
Yeah, I just want to see him put a little medal on Rey and Finn and Chewbacca, and then just put one of the put on a Han Solo, but it just falls to the ground because Han Solo's dead. Then she cries because she loved Han Solo.
Forgot for a second.
And then the credits.
The music stops. There's like awkward silence. She walks off.
What?
Your process.
That wasn't a sentence. Wait, what?
So, Mike, would you recommend, now that we're past spoilers, The Force Awakens?
Absolutely. This is the big event film we've all been waiting for.
You sound so excited about it.
It's a great, fun adventure film that mostly captures the magic of the original Star Wars trilogy with none of the dumb shit that was in the prequels that ruined Star Wars temporarily. Now it's back. J.J. Abrams has made it. He's done it. He made a fantastic film, and you should all go see it at least once or twice. God, I remember.
That's what we were contractually obligated to say. So I'm glad you got that out of the way.
God, I memorized it all. Everything that was in the email from Disney that they told us to say. Was that pretty good? Did it come off on camera?
I think, yeah. We'll cut this part out where we're.
Yeah. We'll make sure we cut this part out.
We definitely have to cut this part out because we don't want people to know that we're horrible.
Did it sound like authentic?
It did. It sounded like you really meant it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Richard, do you need to read yours over?
I want to see.
Well, here, do this. Read it off the page because I know you're really bad at like remembering things, and we'll just cut to like me and Jay, because we both have our own separate camera angles. So you would be off of Jay's camera angle. Okay, so go.
Okay, Star Wars, The Force Awakens is the film of a generation.
A new generation.
A new generation. It's bringing Star Wars to a whole new group of fans that have never gotten to experience this universe before. I plan to see this movie at least 5 more times.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to get the 3D glasses. I'm going to see the movie in 3D. Mm. And I have to make sure to check out IMAX. It's available in IMAX.
Because I think it said something. Because the 3D experience is really immersive and amazing as well.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so maybe see it both ways. Jay, your thoughts on Star Wars The Force Awakens?
I can't do it. It sucks.
Oh my God.
It sucks. Cut! So many plot holes. Can I tell you about the plot hole?
Oh my God, the lawyers are coming.
Oh shit!
No, absolutely, positively, you're really closing the door without any wiggle room whatsoever.
Right. There is no episode 7.
Yes, well, you see, it's a super sophisticated system. When Hollywood uploads a film to their servers, it's encrypted. But my satellite is up so high on Mount Everest that I can steal the signal before it's ever been encrypted.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool, but probably really, really illegal.
Yes, totally.
Huh.
Hey, you know, Mr. Plinkett mentioned something about you having a bunch of little people that make toys.
Ah, yes. A homeless shelter for legless midgets burnt down in Honduras a few years ago. And well, I decided to take in some refugees. Why, in exchange for food and shelter, they manufacture sex toys for my wife's business, Everbreast. Yes, dildos, rubber pussies, and whatnots. Plinkett thinks she has a stick up her ass, but really, it's an anal plug.
Wow, that's fucked up and weird.
Yes, it's essentially free midget slave labor. I can get away with all kinds of illegal shit up here because nobody can find me. That's why I built my mansion way on top of Mount Everest. Well, I've got to get going. Please do tell Harry to bring over that bourbon. I'm afraid I have to get smashing drunk because my wife is a cunt. My wife is a cunt who literally makes cunts. She makes rubber cunts. She makes literal fucking cunts. I mean, all of my daughters, they're all f***ers. My wife, she is a cunt who makes rubber cunts and also makes literal cunts in the form of my fucking whore daughters. Oh well, I've got to get going. Ta-ta!
Oh my God, did he just say that? Wait. Kris, I just wanted to say, it was really nice of you to leave Mr. Plinkett that VCR.
VCR? Well, I never left Plinkett a VCR. Oh, and do remember, vote Trump!
Jay, if he didn't leave the VCR, then who did?